All right, I tried. Genius Zone drink. Didn't really work out for me, but I want to continue discussing what we were talking about for the past couple of days, which is how to get in your Genius Zone. Now, yesterday we talked about healthy exercise and whatnot to get you in a Genius Zone. And then a couple days ago, we talked actually about music to get you in your Genius Zone. So today I want to talk to you about how to create a Genius Zone drink. Clearly I need it. I tried to spell Genius Zone with this, didn't work out very well, did it? All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run through all the ingredients and I'm gonna make this for you. And I'll go in fast forward mode to save you time as well. And I've been making this drink for more than 10 years now, all the ingredients. And I've curated it and done a ton of research so that all this stuff here does a couple things. Number one, it makes sure you don't get sick as often. Number two, it slows down aging. And number three, it's an antioxidant. A lot of these are antioxidants, which means that if you consume this stuff and antioxidants in general, then what happens is you don't get sick as often, okay? And so probably the most important thing I'm putting in here is kale. Now, 1 cup of kale, which is about this big, has 3 or 4 grams of protein, and kale is so good for you. It's a superfood. It's probably the best food you can possibly eat. And so what I'll do is I'll put all this stuff in here, and as I'm doing it, I'll talk to you about why I'm putting certain ingredients in. But the bottom line is that all these things here have one purpose, which is life longevity, keep you healthy and all that stuff, okay? And so a lot of it is beyond the scope of my health knowledge. I'm certainly not a doctor, but I've spoken with a lot of people that are very successful and very healthy and much more healthy than I am, and they can spell genius better than I can. And I put it together into this one drink. And a lot of this stuff can, C-A-N, it can actually stop cancer from ever happening. Of course, you got to make sure you don't smoke and all this other stuff as well. And the FDA and other lawyers would say, Chris, that's not true, whatever. So do your own research as well. Talk to your own doctor before you do any of this stuff. But everything I'm putting in here has one goal, which is to make you healthier and help you live longer. Now, the only thing I'm putting in that isn't as much of a health benefit is jalapenos. I think they're good for you, but I just do it to give it a kick to my drink because it, after a while, it got kind of boring for me doing this. Now, instead of water, and I do use some water, I use aloe, okay? And protein, I have protein powder because what that does is, you know, your bones and your muscles are partially made of protein, so this kind of helps to solidify them. These drinks here, they're called Super Green Drink and Super Red Drink. And I get them from a store close to where I live called Trader Joe's, which is a health store. And you can look at the ingredients. The ingredients basically have every antioxidant you can possibly have that are green and red. I'm sure some of the stuff is a placebo and some of it is not. I've got fatty acids here as well. I got this from Amazon. It's called Super EFA Drink. I got acai, which is from a buddy of mine who actually, he started a company called, I think, Sambozan, in business school, classmate of mine. He said he imported this from South America. It's a health drink. I've got cinnamon. I've got another superfood blend here, which is called Mushroom Blend. This one's a little bit out there. You can do the research on that if you want to. You can Google it. This one here, flax seeds. Again, it slows down the incidence of cancer. And then I've got ginger as well, and then lemon. And don't waste your time drinking orange juice or eating oranges. I know they taste great, but they're full of calories, and this has as much vitamin C, if not more, anyway. Okay. And one more thing that I want to quickly mention is if you ever feel like you're about to get sick, you should consume a lot of vitamin C, okay? And it will actually, in many cases, stop you from getting sick. And I use this product called Airborne, especially when I'm on the road. And when I'm starting to feel a little like I might be getting sick, you know that feeling? Then what I do is I actually take a couple of these, and usually I don't get sick, usually. Okay, great. So let's kick it off with putting a little bit of aloe in here, and you'll see that I have all these juice vessels in here, just because if you make a mess, all you got to do is just clean the sink. And the same thing with my Vitamix blender as well. It's in here. Careful with electricity, obviously. It's plugged into the electrical circuit there. So let me start off by putting a little bit of aloe vera in here, and this stuff's really good for you. Now, if you're gonna get aloe, make sure it doesn't have added sugar in it, okay? Just get the pure stuff, and if you can, try to get everything organic, if you can. If you can't, it's okay. But so I pour a little bit in first, and the reason I pour this in first is because when I put in a lot of these powders, I don't want it to get stuck to the bottom, okay? So what I'll do is I put in 7 of these right here, okay? So I go 1, 2. Okay, great. So I've got 7 of these in. That's 1 scoop for every day. It's protein in. And after you do weights, if you do weights, I'm not a big guy. I used to have more muscle. I don't really care as much anymore. But after you do weights in the gym, you've got like a 30-minute window of opportunity to replenish yourself with protein to get to your muscles and help them repair themselves. Give me 1 second. All right, so I've got 7 of these. So we're done with the Quest protein. Now, I love Quest protein powder because it's really tasty and it's low in carbohydrates usually, okay? And this is salted caramel flavor. I know you can get organic that's better than you, but this is one of my vices, I guess. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, so it's a minor vice. Now, I want to show you one more thing before I stop talking about Quest. It's a great brand. I love it. I love it. I eat these. It tastes like Oreos, these things, but they're actually they make sure that you don't put on fat. So when I was younger, we used to believe that the way you get fat is by eating fat, because 1 gram of fat has one gram of fat has 9 calories. Versus 1 gram of protein and carbohydrates, which have 4 calories each. We were wrong though. They were wrong when I was a kid, because what's important is that you don't eat carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, too many of them, okay? So avoid bread, rice, if you want, and pasta, because that goes right to fat if you don't burn it off. Now, I want to teach you a trick, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna see if you can see that right there. Might be hard to see. If not, I'll just do a little insert there. But when you look at calories, what you do is you look at carbohydrates first, and then you deduct fiber from carbohydrates. Why do you deduct fiber from carbohydrates? Because your body, you can trick your body into thinking that a carbohydrate is not a carbohydrate. That's important because if you consume fewer carbohydrates, you don't put on as much fat. Okay, so here's what you do. When you look at the back of anything, you look at, my hands are a little messy here, sorry, carbohydrates, and then you deduct the fiber for the net carbs. Okay, so for example, this has 21 grams of carbohydrates and 15 grams of fiber. Okay, so the net impact is 21 minus 15, and minus a little bit more than that for technical reasons. And so your body only thinks that this has, I don't know, like 5 or so net carbs. Okay, remember, carbohydrates minus fiber. Okay, great. We're done with the protein. Now I'm going to put in a scoop of 7 scoops of this for 7 days. And I'll do the same thing for Super Green Drink, acai, and all the other powders. I'll go into fast forward mode now so I can save you time. Thanks. All right, now I put in some more aloe, and this is really, really thick because I have a lot of powder in there, but don't worry, it'll all get easier to drink once we add everything else. All right, let's blend this bad boy. All right, and now what we do is we're going to pour this in. It's not all blended perfectly, but it's okay. It'll all work out in the end, okay? And you'll see why I'm using all these vessels here in the sink in a second. It's just so much easier to clean up. I used to do it on the counter and it was a disaster. Okay. All right. It looks thick, but don't worry, it'll all work out. All right, now I'm gonna put in the Super EFA liquid. This is a fatty omega, and I pour this directly into all 7 of these vessels here because it's so important that we get enough of this, and I don't want it to get diluted and not get enough in a certain day. And when I drink this, so what I do is every morning, when I get up, I have water, then I'll have my bulletproof coffee, which I've talked about in other lectures, which basically means coffee with a little bit of butter in it, which helps you really focus. People have been doing that for hundreds of years. Then what I'll do is I'll take one of these with me. If I'm out in the house, if I'm staying in the house, I'll have it beside me at all times. And I'll just take a sip whenever I feel a little bit hungry. Okay, and that's it. That's it. And this will last me, I mean, several hours. If I wanted to, I can go 5 hours or 10 or 7 or 8 hours actually on one of these things. And the thing about fiber, which is wonderful, is fiber tricks your body into thinking that you're full. Okay, that's another reason why this is such a wonderful superfood, as they call it. Okay, great. So I'm gonna put this over here. Then I'm gonna do this guy next, and it's gonna get a bit messy. It always does. All right. And sometimes I'll create I'll have recipes, and I'll just use this here. This is my I've showed you before. This is my iPad, whatever. I use it when I'm lying down. I like to work when I'm lying down on the couch as well, etc. It's like an Apple IV. And it makes it more fun too. All right. Now you can see why I'm doing all this in the sink, eh? Look at this. Only I can mess it up right here. I'm such an idiot. I'll put a little bit more actually. That's good. All right. And the excess powder that didn't go in there that's still left over will get mixed in now. And the reason I like this over pure juicing, or pressed juice as they call it, is because you get all the fibrous nutrients in here as well, meaning that the pieces of all the stuff, it's not just juice. All right, so I'll go here. And I don't mind if a couple pieces don't get ground up. It makes it taste a little bit better. And if you want this drink to be tastier, you can throw in more bananas and more cinnamon, etc. I don't do that because this is just food for fuel for me. When I eat, unless I go out to dinner, I don't think of food as being tasty, whatever. I know I'm a little bit out there, right? All right, so we're almost done with this, the kale. All right, good, making great progress. Next up, we have got the raw ginger roots. Take this out here. And I'm gonna wash this a little bit. Okay. Now, if I wasn't recording this, I wouldn't have washed that. Just kidding. Maybe I am. All right. All right, ginger. Then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put in some of my jalapenos. Jalapenos, I know. All right. Look how they're making knives now, eh? All right, let's. All right. That one's not good. And if a piece of fruit or vegetable is a little bit rotten somewhere, you can't just cut it off. The whole thing is infected. Okay. Now, I don't recommend using habaneros, or is that pronounced habaneros? Because they're just insanely hot. But anyway, that is that. I like lemon. I have lemon with most of my meals. Like at night, I'll have a big salad with avocado. Every night, it's the same thing. And I'll put tons of spices on it, and spices are really good for you. So I just buy the greatest hits stuff. This one here is called 21 Season Salute. Okay, and then, oh, this is dope. This is the best. So remember how I told you not to eat any complex carbohydrates if you don't want to store fat? So I love bagels. Bagels are good. Everyone loves bagels. But instead of having bagels, what I do is this, because I love everything bagels. I get this stuff called Everything Bagel Sesame Seasoning Blend, right? And all it is just all the stuff you put on a bagel, right? It's so good. And I put this on my avocados. Now, avocados are fat, okay? But that's okay because they're not carbohydrates. And so your body doesn't store that fat, right? So put this on your salad. It's really good, really good. And then my salad, I just put oil and apple cider vinegar as well. I'm cutting it here. Christine is coming back today from Greece. We miss her. If she was in the kitchen right now, I'd be using a cutting board right here. But don't tell her, okay? Keep that between you and me and whoever else you talk. All right. So she was gone at a wedding in Greece. Her family actually is, her mom's side is from Greece, from Santorini. And they all lived in Santorini until there was a big volcanic eruption. And then they, many of them passed away. It was really sad. And they ended up in a boat, a fishing boat. And then somehow they went from Greece all the way to Israel. And if you've ever been to northern Israel, I think it's close to Haifa, there's a restaurant, a Greek restaurant called Abu Christos, or Son of Christos. And that's her family restaurant. We went there to visit them last year. All right, we're almost done now. Only I can make a massive mess all the way around the sink instead of putting it in here. Usually I'm a bit more clean than that. All right. Let's blend this bad boy here. And sometimes I'll put in whole lemons as well. Just get the skin. Well, actually it tastes decent, like marmalade on your toast. Again, don't use habaneros, man. Whoops. Don't use habaneros. Use jalapenos if you want. Gives a good kick to it. And I thought of the idea with jalapenos because I was in Arizona at this resort, and they had water with lemon and then a jalapeno in it. It's really good. Try that actually. It's really tasty and stops you from consuming too many calories. Put a little bit of jalapeno in water along with lemon. Okay, and I'm spilling half this stuff. Okay. All right, we're almost done actually. We're almost done. And what you can do is fill it all the way at the top, okay? Because if you fill it all the way to the top, I don't know if you can see me there, sorry. You fill it all the way at the top, what happens is it'll last for longer, right? You'll notice that whenever you buy jars of stuff and you put it in your fridge, quite often there's liquids like pickle juice, whatever, all the way at the top so that it doesn't go bad, okay? And then what you can do if you want is when you put these things on here, if you want, you can get a funnel and then put more water in there as well. I do that sometimes as well. Usually I use filtered water from the fridge there, but whatever, doesn't matter. A little bit of unfiltered water is not going to kill you. I remember I was in London with Christine and the kids this summer, and I went to the front desk of the hotel and I said, is it safe? Is it okay to drink the water here? And the guy says, I reckon it's not Flint, Michigan here, American. And I was like, oh dude, I'm just asking. I reckon it's not Flint, Michigan. No disrespect to Flint, Michigan. Okay. Actually, Christine has relatives there on her dad's side. Her dad's from Israel. He's a Palestinian, and they live not too far away from there, actually. All right, and so again, you could fill it all the way up to the top if you want. It gets messy. That's okay. What you do is you just kind of, hold on a second. I get a towel here. Not like it matters, but whatever. Fill all the way up. Okay. And then what you do is you can, okay, then you shake it up. Right. Same thing here. Actually, let me do this. Gets messy, but who has the time, right? All right, and that's it. You can dry them if you want to. I usually don't, whatever, it's a little bit of water, who cares? Put it in the fridge now. Oh, hey there. And then what you can do if you want is you can flip them as you take each days out, just to stir it up a bit more if you wanted to. All right, that's 7 drinks for 7 days. They're all right here. Bye. Okay, so that's it. That's it. And I bring them with me, and I take a sip every now and then when I'm a little bit hungry. But that's a trick, though. If you only eat when you're hungry, you don't put on as much fat. And actually, I've met a lot of very successful chefs, and I've always asked them, I always thought that chefs were quite overweight. Not that I'm stereotyping, actually I am right there, that's bad, but whatever. And a lot of chefs are not overweight because what they do is they're cooking all day long, and they're taking little samples here and there. And that's why they're not overweight. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. If this was helpful, and only if this was helpful, please click the like button and subscribe, and I will see you mañana. Thank you.